All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to a very special International Beer Day happy hour show. Big K, what you got there? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. I'm glad to be here on the happy hour. Just I do not have a beer, did not get the memo, but as some free Mark Abbey, it's some fantastic Napa Cab. Um,
Nice.
it's not going to break your bank. It's like $50 range.
Gotcha.
Really nice, really nice.
I got one of my absolute favorite beverages by Cigar City.
Oh,
You
Cigar
are
City has some fantastic beverages,
you
and
are
that is
familiar
one.
with the High Lie, as am I, but the Guayabera is also
Hmm.
absolutely
Hmm.
wonderful. So, cheers, everybody! Happy International Beer Day. Yeah, and let's get right to it and bring in folks familiar to the show, some of my favorite panelists, Senor Buckrock and Hexastanny Dylan from Vince's casting couch from last show. How y'all doing?
Great. Good. The market, not so much.
No, market bad. We were just chatting quickly before you got in the green room about it, but we'll touch on that and a ton of other topics. Uh, Harris Hart 24 supporter, also known as Buckamentals. How you doing, sir?
Linda.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Hello, everybody. I've just been on paternity leave this week. Had a new baby, uh, so been sleeping kind of odd hours, but I'm doing well besides that. Um, yeah, and I quite like this market. I'll add. I think this is good. So market not bad.
Yeah, I want to get right into that. First, I want to say hello to the chat. So, Par Excellence is going to be joining us in the replay gang. Vets and Crypto, what is going on? HP Morgan is watching us, I believe, at a bar or restaurant because I saw him on Twitter and he's 3 martinis in. Eagle AI, I wouldn't expect anything less from HP and a bunch of other familiar faces. Hex Glenn and Gang Gang, Bang Bang, LOL. Um, Buck, I guess you just talk about your first initial comment there. So wake up this morning, and I guess we get the jobs number, and markets that were already not acting very healthy. If you're bullish, proceeded to dump even more massively, and many out there would be concerned and worrying and saying the market is awful, where others might find opportunity or perhaps even like this market. What are your thoughts on what you were saying there about how you're not minding this current action?
Yeah, sorry, I just got distracted by the gray pussy.
It's the first on happy hour, by the way. The first gray pussy on happy hour. But continue.
Anyway, before I digress, so what we're experiencing right now, I think, is sort of the beginning of a new regime for interest rates, and that's always exciting. And really, what that means is that the thing that really hosed us last time was going from 0 to 5%, right? And that was caused by inflation. So the Fed, which is really the one that matters, um, because it leads all the other central banks around the world, basically had to start hiking aggressively because of inflation, rampant inflation that we experienced, following the reopening from COVID. That really hosed us, and that's actually probably kept crypto prices relatively contained for the past few years now. We've really just been experiencing a recovery, right? So we've been heading back towards where we were before the inflation crept in and started to spook things. The Fed has to care about two things, but according to its mandate, it doesn't have to care about crypto price or stock prices or anything else. It has to care about prices being stable. And stable means sort of like they should go up a little bit each year, but not too much. So maybe 2%. And it needs to care about unemployment. So the unemployment has been very low for years, right? And it's not really been something that they've had to be too worried about. In fact, it's been historically low for many years, and it's still quite low. Whereas inflation has been the key thing that they've been worried about for really the last 3 years. Inflation now looks to be relatively contained. It's probably going to come back at some point, and that's maybe the thing we have to worry about. But we now see a labor market in the U.S. finally starting to get weaker, and that's going to enable the Fed to actually start to think about properly cutting. So the markets are fully pricing in rate cuts for September. We may even get 2 of them. So you may hear my son babbling in the background. In general, I think this is similar, if you want to think about it from a personal experience, to maybe the COVID dip, except it's not as pronounced or as dramatic. And we can talk a bit about what's happening with that. But remember, the important thing to remember was the COVID dip was what gave the Fed and policymakers on the fiscal side the ability to say, hey, we need to inject medicine into this thing. And that's what really sent us a lot higher, going into 2020, 2021, right? So we first had to look into the abyss, right, and scare the policymakers and scare the eggheads at the Fed enough in order to get them to cut, and cut they did. So we've just had something pretty similar happen, overnight, with a few different things. What is the Bank of Japan had to hike to intervene in their currency, which has been getting killed. So they had to hike 15 basis points. That's causing a bunch of people to unwind a massive carry trade where they've been borrowing cheap yen and investing that money elsewhere. That's going to cause a few people to sort of deleverage. So that blew up Asian stocks in particular, but tech stocks as well. But we also had a very weak non-farm payrolls that got revised down. I forget the exact number. It was a little bit over 100K, and we had U3 unemployment go up to was it 4.3%? So it's a big miss, right? So that's a pretty big move month on month. So that's enough to give Powell and those guys the ability to really start to bring back the liquidity. So I suspect that this is going to start to head in the right direction. The question is, how much pain are we going to have to endure first? So I think this is sufficient. I don't think we have to necessarily go down to some sort of crazy low, right, for them to really come back in earnest, and for crypto markets to start to accelerate again. I think a lot of the guys that like to say, oh well, we need to go touch the prior bottom or things like that, the tech bros, they're just wrong about stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily have to happen. Basically tech stocks have been knocked back to June. It's not really that big of a drop. It is in the sense that it happened pretty quickly yesterday, but they've already had a really good year, right? They're already up a ton. So I think this sets us up for interest rates to drop down to 3%, 2.5%, or something like that. And I think you will see speculation come back into crypto pretty hard as that happens. So I would just say you can pick your moment. I haven't really sold too much over the past few months because I sort of anticipated that we'd have this. But if you are sitting on dry powder, I think you can start to buy in when you think it's appropriate, because I think it's very likely that this is going to set us up for the next kind of 2-3 years. At least another 12 months, I would say. I think I put a tweet out the other day saying I think the macro setup is almost perfect, and I think that's exactly right. This is almost perfect what we've got in front of us. So I feel pretty confident over like a 2-3 year time horizon that crypto is going to be much higher, more broadly because of this.
The 2 to 3 years, I mean, a lot of people have their, in quotes, cycle ending maybe like late next year. So are you saying that this could be maybe different from people's, in their minds, they have this like 4-year cycle target? So, like
Yeah.
20 and
I don't care about that 4-year thing. Like, there's no like shot clock on a cycle.
Yeah.
If there were, this would be a very easy game.
Well, I mean, it almost has been easy for every 4 years to date. So I guess that's why people are like have it in their minds. Yeah.
Right, but that's a small sample size. That's like a sample of like
four
what
times.
4 times. It doesn't mean anything. And yeah, I mean, it in a way, it's like this could be the cycle ending right now if you think about it. Like this could be it right here, except the cycle ending here may end at 60,000, right? That may be the bottom.
Triple
right?
top.
No. I mean, like this could be the bottom here.
Yeah. I think it will be eventually. Yeah.
And then we go to 100,000. So like if you're expecting, like this kind of Richard Hart-esque, where we drop down to, we have to touch 11K and pray. I don't know what the new 11K and pray number would be, right? But I'm telling you, we don't have to do that necessarily. We just need to have the Fed and the other central banks start cutting, and obviously governments around the world are happy to spend fiscally, right? Like and whoever wins the election, well, whether it be Trump or Harris, they're going to spend, right? So I'm not worried about that. So yeah, no, I think the cycle can absolutely keep going in a way that where you won't even notice this dip. Like if you look at the COVID dip on the chart, on the Bitcoin chart, you can't even see it. Like it's actually hard to see. Like put it in log.
Yep. So we went down to like what 4K or something like that.
It was like 3,600 or something like that when we did. Yeah, but you're right. It was a wick. It was a wick, and that was it. And
it was just like an impulse move, and if you didn't get it, you were left behind. Or I mean,
which is a lot different than let's say something's really properly broken with the economy, like, and they got to go turn around and fix it, or we got to go through some sort of like depressionary scenario, right? That's different than this, right? I don't think that's happening. I think the U.S. economy is still really pretty strong. Rich people are still very rich and spending money, right? You guys are just down in Nashville, driving your Lambos around, having sushi, right? When things are really bad, people don't do stuff like that. It's in poor taste, right?
No.
I
mean, I met with some cats out that way that are dealing with nothing to do with crypto. They're friends of mine from traditional finance that are also waiting with massive, hundreds of millions of dollars of liquidity waiting to be put into the market. So like there's risk on assets are going to be popular, I think, come the last quarter of this year, if not going into next year.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's because when your cash rates go from 5% to 2%, you suddenly pull them out of your term deposits and say, hey, this kind of sucks. 2% inflation, and I'm only getting 2% of my term deposit. I'm not really going anywhere with this. I need to find something else to invest in that's gonna chase a higher return than that.
Yep.
Well, you brought up, I guess, interest rates. So real quick, the debate I've been seeing on traditional finance television over my shoulder there. One of the most popular debates right now over the past, I guess, 24 hours is the Fed too late? Should they have cut, at least 25, points this week and at least not because now they have to wait until September. Of course, they have Jackson Hole, which I think is going to be like a pivoting kind of Powell speech to signal the coming months to be like, okay, we kind of get it. But do you think they were too late at all, or is the market itself overreacting to the jobs number today?
Yeah, sure. So whenever this happens, they like to point fingers and say that these guys fucked up, and they were too late to hike, when inflation came, right? So last time, so now they're kind of going to say the same thing. I don't think it really matters. I guess this is just their way of saying, hurry up and do it. They have the ability to do an emergency cut if they need to.
What do you think the likelihood of that happening is?
What's that? It's unlikely, because like the U.S. is fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only proviso I'd say is there's something very weird going on in Asia right now, and I would say somebody is clearly under stress. I don't know who it is, but
Besides all the
somebody.
Are you talking like a small nation or like a big fund or what?
Usually it's a bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually it's a bank. Yeah. I've heard a couple rumors here and there, but like I never like these things. Oftentimes don't turn out to be true, but like so somebody's in trouble over here. I can tell it. I can just tell. So you got to watch this space. And every time something blows up overseas, you guys in America are always the last ones to know about it. Like, and you're usually oblivious, right? So it's something to keep track of, because like if it is a contagion type scenario, it can kind of spread to the U.S. a little bit. You saw this with COVID, actually, is a more like biological example of it, right? But we watched COVID unwind in China for about a month before anyone in America cared about it.
Yeah, right? I remember seeing videos of shit going on in like December, before there was any, outskirts kind of stuff that I was like, this seems odd, but yeah, it was still pretty early. I mean, you could have known pretty early if you were paying attention. But
yeah,
most people were.
That's right.
Until.
That's right. So I don't know. Like it's always possible that things are really actually bleeding badly, and something something you could get like a catalyst where you start to have kind of a chain reaction of failures in global banking institutions. Like something like that's possible. I just don't see it happening yet. But I'm on the lookout for it. And from my perspective, what I just think is going to most likely happen is Powell's going to start cutting. Markets are going to be like, thank you. Crypto's going to go, sweet. We're not going to try austerity. We're not going to try to balance our budget. We're not going to try to fix our trade deficit. We're just going to spend our way out of this, and that means crypto never go up. Like I think that's what's most likely to happen. But I'm keeping my eye out, like looking very hard for something that's gonna really sour things. And yeah, the other thing about this little kind of mini bubble popping, obviously AI is a huge deal, but anytime you have something that's big like this, like a whole bunch of stuff is overvalued always, right? So we always have to kind of pop a bubble like this, and see what's actually worthwhile. I would say this may be your opportunity to get positions in AI, at reasonable valuations. So like that's another thing to look out for, because that's a trade I don't think you want to miss out on, and it's something that was very hard to invest in initially, because unlike crypto, it's not very democratic currently. But like if you can get Nvidia or Google, or I think Apple's actually going to benefit a ton from AI, at a good valuation out of this. That's worth watching crypto number go down for a month or two. You know what I mean? Just in terms of diversifying your portfolio. Now, obviously, I want you to go buy Hex, because that would be great for Dylan. But I always like to preach diversification. I'm a little bit of a apostate that way. So yeah, I think this is a pretty useful little dip for us in general. We'll see how low it goes. But yeah, I don't think this is leading to like Dust Bowl depressionary stuff yet.
Yeah, you mentioned Nvidia. I actually bought some this morning after the jobs number. It's just one of those that actually has like legit earnings. They're pretty much going to be printing money for at least another year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe more. But I've owned it for a long time, but I also sold some at higher levels. And if it came back to like close to 100, that I was just like, how can I not? And it's like opportunities like those that, yeah, it could go lower. Like 97 is like a good level. I think that's where like one of the gap ups were, but may have a bit in there as well. But these, like Buck was saying, like some of these opportunities you're being presented with right now, if we're just talking stocks for a second, I think Meta is another great name. I don't think that's going anywhere. And they have multiple revenue streams, like big time, coming in the next, 2, 5, 10 years. Who knows? So
yeah, and this is the trade of your life, the AI thing.
So you guys don't think Nvidia is expensive, huh?
No.
Really?
I don't. No. Well, I mean, it could be. Like,
don't think what is expensive?
Nvidia.
No, not at all. I mean, really, they have actual earnings. Like
the only thing that worries me about Nvidia is that they're going to get a lot of competition from the big tech guys, which is why I think you passively want to own all those things more or less. And we'll see how long Nvidia's moat can stay afloat. But like my understanding is that they're pretty that they're in good shape for quite a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, this AI thing's gonna be huge. It's gonna absolutely melt your face off, but it's gonna take a little while. And there's gonna be a lot of bubbly stuff, right? Like we saw this in 2001, with the tech wreck. Back then, any Zoomer could basically buy a web domain, pets.com or goldchains.com, all like whatever bullshit you want to buy, you just buy a domain and people would give you millions of dollars to go create a web store. And this is back when web stores sucked, by the way. They're really hard to use. They're really slow. You didn't have 2-day shipping. There wasn't an Amazon model that works like, so it was just it was a real pain in the ass to buy anything online in the year 2000. Just like clicking the button and going through that took forever. So it was a really shitty experience, but people, they were paying overs for that. But what came out of that was things like Amazon, that were, unbelievably good buys at that period of time. So, I imagine something like similar will happen with AI here. There'll be things that, that are obviously just crap. And like, we have a million different things. You have like Claude and, ChatGPT and then Grok and all these things. Like, not all of those are going to make it, right? A lot of those things are going to zero, right? They're not, most of them are uninvestable, but the ones that are actually successful are going to be worth oodles of money, right? And I'm willing to bet that, even though we don't really like woke Google very much, that eventually they're going to make a pretty good one once they start, trying to erase white people from it. They'll once they figure out how to like do that properly, then like I imagine their thing will be pretty good. And like once Siri actually fucking works on my iPhone, like I don't know if you guys use the Siri.
Oh yeah. You
I
guys
mean,
Like an iPhone
for timers and shit, for like the most basic shit, but eventually I imagine better.
Imagine if she was like really good.
I've played around with a few different AI models on your phone that had like, I've taken a phone and given access to see how some of the new shit works, and it is pretty impressive. There's definitely, I mean, it's not doing everything for me, but it's automating a lot of shit. So yeah, there's it's
Yeah. And imagine like if you're gonna be able to just tell her like, "Hey Siri, buy diapers on Amazon." Okay, done.
Mhm.
You know, like, and then Apple's gonna be able to charge people, a little micro payment for that, right? So they're gonna get a little slice of that. Like it's just gonna be a very different world. Um, so I really do think big tech's going to be the beneficiaries of this. I also think there's a crypto play there as well. And similarly, like I think you have to be very careful investing in AI crypto stuff because like most of it's going to go to zero, right? But somebody's going to figure it out, and we may not. That thing may not even exist yet. There's a few guys trying, but I don't like one of those lessons I remember from 2000 was that there were a lot of people that had exactly the right idea, but it was too early in the development of tech at that point to really make these things work. So like pets.com did have a good idea. It was like buy all your pet shit online, right? But you didn't need a specific pets.com website. You needed Amazon to do that, right? And Amazon was really just trying to sell books at that point, right? They weren't necessarily trying to fulfill heavy dry goods like Walmart, So like that all that stuff had to kind of work out. We had social media as well, back then as well. Just it sucked, right?
Yeah, the AOL messenger thing.
MySpace, bro.
Yeah, like it just the other thing was like like people had ideas for we had the Palm Pilot in the 90s, right? It was basically an iPhone.
Palm Pilot, dude.
Yeah, it was basically an iPhone, but the thing is it sucked because the technology wasn't there yet, right? We didn't have 5G internet, we didn't have 4G 3G internet.
Had to have your stylus.
Yeah, exactly. So like sometimes these things just are too early. So that's why like I'm saying be careful with AI stuff, but like on the other hand, be interested in it and look for it because it's going to be the biggest trade of your lifetime, I think. But like I can't think of anything bigger. But yeah, it's currently it's getting savaged in the markets, and that's because that's what happens when you go up a gajillion% in a year.
It's not going to like all happen at the same time. Like pretty much like the hardware foundation needs to be laid first. That's why, you probably want to be in chips now and hardware. And then the software guys are maybe next, like a Snowflake or something next year or something like that. And you just, it's constant. It's going to move. It's going to move fast. But if you can, catch each next, rung of the ladder, I think, you'll do even better than what you would have already, done, saying buying and holding, which is what is the safest anyway. But it'll be interesting for sure. Thoughts on AI before we move on, gents? Anybody else? Because I believe somebody brought up the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. So to my knowledge, we have a couple of gentlemen that attended said event.
Yeah.
How did it go? Like what went on? Takeaways? Who wants to go first? Because I mean, I guess there's two angles to this, right? So you have like the Bitcoin experience. So former President Trump comes in. I guess that was the highlight of the last day or whatever.
Wild.
But just overall Bitcoin, the whole thing was streamed online, which is pretty cool to keep up with. And we have our own angle right here. We had a booth there. So I guess we should start with Big K. Give me both sides of your experience.
I mean, I've done the Bitcoin conference several times over in my experience through crypto, previously for mining reasons. Now, this being in Nashville this year is nicer than Miami. Miami this time of year is awful. It's very hot. So I was thoroughly impressed with the change of venue. I like the new Music City Center they have there is very nice. I thought the event would have been well run, if it weren't for the fanfare of Trump being there. Because if you wanted to actually, due to the fact that we had insanely increased security, probably due to the assassination attempt, all that went on recently. I mean, we had Secret Service out the ass just to try and get in and out of the main venue area. So you're much better off just watching. If you actually wanted to see anything live, just watch the live stream. It was way better than trying to fight for hours to get the the day of Trump. It was by 9 in the morning. It was 1 in, 1 out, and
oh wow,
so
how many
good luck
short
getting
ladies with pistols did you see?
No, not very many. Not very many. I mean, but I didn't, like I said, I stayed pretty far away from I passed by and saw the Secret Service doing their thing, but the line would go from where they started all the way through the exhibit hall and weave around forever to just to get into that speaking area. And that was the only main stage area that was like that. Everywhere else you could get to pretty easily. And the booth was, the nice part about it was from a booth standpoint. Thank you, Hex Glenn. Appreciate you, man. I was glad to see you there. The nice part was that we got a lot more traffic because nobody was, everybody was forced to be in the exhibit hall way more than I think they would have planned on being in it. So that was great. So from an event standpoint, it went very well. I think that the conference was pretty well done. I mean, because of because of Trump being there, a lot of stuff that I know some of the people that were working the event as well, that certain things had to be moved around, canceled, blah, blah, blah. There's some, that all happens. It was still pretty exciting overall and with relatively little issue. Overall, the booth was fantastic. Like I said, I hired Fashion Coder to come on out and be a part of the event. She was super awesome, right? Because she rocks. She should really be she's better than all of you Hexicans. She should be the face of this whole enterprise. Richard should send her things to say, and she should just say them out loud. It was great to see her. I mean, we got a ton of traffic. If I stood by the booth, she'd go on a lunch break or something, and I'd stand by the booth. And I was like, this is my movie and stuff, guys, and look at me. Nobody give a shit, But she's sitting over there. Everyone came through and said what's up. They put us on the scavenger hunt thing too, so we got a bunch of traffic from that. So it was real good. Overall, lots of people that had not, hadn't heard of the movie and was not really. I mean, plenty of people have no idea who Richard Hart is. So having a cardboard cutout at him, they're like, is that you? And I'm like, no, that's not. Not me, thank you. So there's it's great because the people that did know, sure, we got tons of reactions. Had Max Kaiser and Eric and a whole bunch of cats come on through the booth. From Bitcoin land, stop on through and either want to strangle them or take a picture with them or whatever. Which is great. So that was we got plenty of good reactions. All in all, it was a fantastic event. We threw a little happy hour party right next door at the one hotel for all sorts of Hexicans. That was lovely as well. Dylan can attest to some of the fine hors d'oeuvres and all the rest that came through there. It was lovely. Other than that, these guys that I was running a booth, so these guys they went and did exciting things out in nature and stuff too. But I was pretty close to the event. So all in all, I think it was pretty fantastic. It couldn't have really gone better for our booth, as well as for just in general. I think the having Trump out there talking and saying the things that he did say was great. For both sides, whether it ends up being Trump Vance or Harris Hart 2024, whoever. I mean, I think it moves the needle for our zone, for crypto as a whole in the right direction. The right pressure is definitely being applied. So it's good to see.
Dylan, any thing to add on that, and anything that is, I guess, not R-rated or below that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, we had a great time. We had some guys from some private chats all got together, and we're pretty much at all of the things, right? So when we first got there, we all had dinner. That was amazing. Yash picked out the steakhouse, really good eating. And then the next day, we all, I rented a car, and we all fucking Jesse drove, Dan drove, Yash drove. We all drove to a fucking cave, right? And it was this massive cave. I've been there before. Nobody else has been there. We were going there to look for Richard, as the joke is. And it was really great. We all had a great time. Drove back. I don't know what we did later that night. And then we went to a couple more dinners. Went to the conference. Me and my girlfriend, we tried to get in to see Trump, but there was no fucking way in hell, man. The line, by the time we got there, was like 2 hours long. And then like they had to close the whole venue. They closed it from entry at 12:30. Nobody could come in. Nobody could go out. Well, you could leave, but you couldn't come in, right? Unless you were like you had a special tag and you had a vendor or a whale pass or something like this. But general admission, you had to wait outside for like 30 minutes before you could actually go in before Trump spoke. And then once you went in, we went up to one of the digital like screens up in the ballrooms or whatever and watched Trump's speech over there. And yeah, hung out with the bros and got to meet Yellow Cake, got to meet some OG Hexicans that nobody's ever seen before. It was really fun. It was great. Definitely am excited for any other sort of meetup that we'll have again. And Big K's booth was awesome. I went to it many times, and got a picture with Richard. It was great. And I actually won Big K's raffle, which is awesome. So I got the little,
we raffled off some box sets, and Dylan was one of the winners. I had nothing to do with. I didn't pick his name out or nothing. It was completely by chance.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and so Motley thought it was rigged, but it's not. Okay, I just won. Okay, but yeah, it was great. So I really enjoyed it. I'd love to do it again if we don't go to fucking zero. So yeah, Vegas 2025. Let's do it.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more fun if Buck's right about a lot of what we're talking about here. It'll be a lot more fun next year.
That's the marketing slogan. Don't go to zero.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
And we could do nice things.
Survive till 25, man. Friggin' name.
Seriously. Yeah, it was a great time. I had a great time. I'm sure everybody that went also had a great time. So, yeah.
Well, good stuff. So out of that, I guess, obviously if Trump's going to speak there, he's going to pump up, the BTC and, don't sell your Bitcoin and all this stuff. And
I'm in a fire game against it.
That was
wow, you guys really like this. I'm going to say it again.
Yes, sir. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. So one thing he did talk about was, I guess, the 200,000 BTC that the U.S. government, has, and kind of like preserving that, in a reserve, so to speak, in quotes. And then, just to prove that, the United States government hates you, they moved like 20,000 of those coins to a couple different wallets earlier this week. So
yeah, apparently they sold some of that too.
Did they actually sell it?
Yeah, about $2 billion worth, something like that.
Okay. So I didn't know if they actually sold or not. I just saw like the moves or whatever. But that could explain. Maybe take us down to like 58K, and let's bounce from there. But that was just in the back of my mind when he said that. I was like, watch whoever holds the keys to that, like, do some funky stuff with it. And Monday, whenever it was, right on cue. And I was just like, it's like clockwork. These people, just can't stand this guy. And crypto people, do you want to vote for that? You have like guys like Mike Novogratz, who's very well spoken, super knowledgeable. I'll even say Mark Cuban is as well. But they can't, as smart as they are and as pro crypto as they are, they can't vote on policy. They can't bring themselves to vote for what they preach, because their feelings, their poor little feelings, against Donald Trump, like just overwhelm them. I don't even think Novogratz can, because I think he might be Canadian. But anyway, like they're just so against this guy. They're so hurt by him. And it's just disgusting to watch, because they're preaching and preaching pro crypto this, pro crypto that, but don't vote for the guy that is, pro crypto. It's disgusting to me. So.
Well, I'll defend them and say, we need to have a few lefties. Like I actually miss SBF for this reason. Like you want to play both sides.
I agree with that, but. Yeah. At the same time,
like the defense complex has its war hawks on the Democrat side. The Hillary Clintons of the world, the Chuck Schumers, the people that just love war, right? And they also got them on the Republican side, obviously. The Cheneys and everybody else. We should be the same.
Haley,
shout out to Nick. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, she's a more contemporary version. But yeah, she's a great example of that. So I think actually cynically, it's great that Cuban's there, and Novogratz went to Princeton. He was Lubin's roommate there. Lubin's the guy that does MetaMask and consensus, right? He's probably the most important person in Ethereum in reality, even though he's sort of low key. We need those guys on both sides, and we don't necessarily want crypto to be a Trump thing either, because Trump may not win, and then where does that leave us?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much faith that he will, knowing that our elections run like Venezuela. So
I actually think that, overall, like I was saying, is whether it be Trump moving the needle because of his current super pro crypto stance he's taken, or whether it be Harris is just not as old as Biden is, and like probably knows some people that own some crypto and shit. Like you can already tell that there's going to be a softer stance than Biden's presidency if she was to win. I mean, I'm not saying it would obviously not be as good for our bags as if Trump won, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as the status quo was going to be this next cycle around.
Yeah. And all the pieces wouldn't necessarily stay in place. So I think, Gensler would still be in the government.
Probably still.
I think he would go to Treasury Secretary or something like that. So at least you wouldn't have him in the SEC. But that opens up the question, well, who are you going to get? I don't think anybody can be as bad as.
No, I agree. I agree. It can't be as bad, but it's still not. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. I agree. I'm not. I just like to play, as Buck was doing, play some devil's advocate and make sure that I'll take the wins wherever we can get them. The fact that in general the government is taking a much more pro crypto stance over the past 6 months, really 8 months, is pretty awesome. I mean, as far as somebody who's been in crypto for long enough to be like, this is totally fringe, to now these dudes are buying our bags, is all pretty sick.
Yeah, just the moving of coins was completely tone deaf, and then even Novogratz, just was the first on it, and he was like, "You got to be kidding me!" You just have the guy that he doesn't say the good things about crypto, and then the first thing that the other side does is Monday morning moves coins around, and because everybody's going to be watching,
it's funny.
Those wallets, or it's just ugh. So I don't know. I think anything's better than what we have, but I don't.
It was quite cynical. I agree. What happened, but on the other hand, I think the key thing that's going to happen besides AI over the next 10 years is baby boomers are going to exit politics, and millennials are going to basically take over all the power. And the reason why it's millennials is because the millennials are the biggest generation. Sorry, Gen Xers, and sorry, Zoomers. So the basically you've had baby boomers in charge since Bill Clinton in the 90s, and so they ran the country for 30 plus years, and they're now going to basically die off. So I think anybody under the age of 50 knows somebody who owns crypto. right? So that's going to be a positive. You know, I think just that to quote to use a phrase that Harris likes to use a lot, the passage of time is very
You can
very
rhyme.
consequential. Yes, and we won't be burdened by what it's been with the baby boomers. We will have much younger people who at least know people who own crypto. I like how she sounds like Dr. Seuss when she talks.
She speaks in rhyme.
Yeah. She speaks in rhyme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and I don't think Trump gives a fuck about crypto, but you know, he at least understands that some people do, and you know, he'll stay out of the way. But I also think Harris doesn't give a fuck about crypto either.
No, neither one of them does. It's
Yeah.
just money.
So the Liz Warrens of the world are going to get basically shown the door, and you're going to have the AOCs of the world, and even someone like AOC probably owns some crypto. You know what I mean? Like she's probably got some. Her boyfriend definitely does. The kind of pasty redheaded guy that she dates, like that guy looks like a crypto guy.
Yeah, I can't understand that, but yeah, good for him, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, you don't appreciate the BBL? Dylan can do. Dylan's an expert on this subject. He can explain it to you.
I don't. I just liked your assessment of that in real time, Cabana. That was great.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on. Other community topics. Just we don't really ignore topics on the show. This is kind of like the community hangout discussion. So we all speak honestly here, or at least I do. So this community thing with, not necessarily, you can call it a sacrifice if you want, but people posting their personal issues on the socials and then either asking directly for help for themselves or someone on their behalf asking for them. I know each situation is different, and shout out to Crypto Vince because he's actually helped legitimately, like, people who could have used it and needed it. But there are others to where it's like, what the heck is going on here? So, like, how should a crypto community treat this? Should it be ignored? Because I see, like, everybody's just throwing barbs back and forth. It's like 50-50. And I don't even, obviously I'm talking about the Kareem Bullets thing, bang, bang. And he's in Turks and Caicos, I guess, being held up. And, I think Jesse actually Googled it, and all you need is like 10 grand or something, and you can get pretty much out of it now because they changed the law. But just, like, what are you guys' takes on the community, being even made aware of this / asked for help on stuff like this?
I mean, I guess it's a slippery slope. Kareem's going to be all right. I wish him well. He's a really nice guy. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I met him a bunch of times. He's a great dude.
You got to go. When shit like this happens, you just have to get through it. And I think his messages look like, he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'll get through it. So, we don't have to necessarily have a knee jerk, like, let's send money, like every time something shitty happens to one of us. But I mean, if we are going to do that, I thought that I should put my hat in. As some of you know, Moritz owes me $40K from a bet, so that he never paid me. He bet me 40 grand that Hex would reach $1 by the end of the year 2022. I think it was, Dylan.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's welched on that bet. So I think if the community could organize a sacrifice to make me whole on that bet, I think I would appreciate that. Because it's a bit uncomfortable for me to not be paid this money that I'm owed by Moritz for the last 2.5 years.
We'll start a crypto Moritz Latina Kareem fund, and just put a pool in like one address, and it will pay for everything. We'll just take donations and I don't want any part of that. But yeah, somebody figure that out, and there you go. We can reconcile all of everyone's debts and or unfortunate incidences.
I think that's a great idea. I think that anybody that loses a dumb bet should have to come correct and
I paid my dues.
Hook up the community.
I also was on the side of the bet with Moritz. I paid my dues. Dan, same thing. He paid his dues.
That's true.
Come on, Moritz.
But so I guess it's just there's a lot of good causes out there. It's hard to say, is your cause really the best cause? Is it really worth? Does it deserve other people's money? I don't know. There's a lot of starving kids in Africa. There's diseases that we can contribute money to prevent, things like that.
At the end of the day, too, any of that kind of stuff is like, I mean, it's how it makes you feel, like there's an endless hole for people. The world is an insanely dark place, like there's no shortage of people that need help out there. And like, if you feel inclined yourself that it's going to make you feel better about yourself to give some money to some cause because it makes it like touches you, that's like awesome. Go for it. By all means, no one is stopping you. But like, it's like
makes you feel good. Do it.
Yeah, it makes you feel good, and that's something that you vibe. If like you aren't going to sleep that well tonight, knowing that he is in a jail in Turks and Caicos and needs some cash for you or something, whatever the cause is, then like by all means, that's your own thing. But like, don't try not to judge other people for not giving a shit about it. I mean,
I think what Quarter Panda said there, it's like considered on a case by case basis, but like. I've said it multiple times on the show about other topics. Like optics is huge in crypto because everybody or a lot of people put their thoughts out there either on a live stream or on social media, and then if something happens after those thoughts or ideas are shared that is contradictory or just seems a little off, then I think there's it's proper to raise some eyebrows at it. And so if you see somebody, out at the club every night or flying around the world and then ask for money, it just seems a little weird in that instance.
I mean, and that part of it is what it is, in the sense that like, there's a bunch of ways to get at money. If you've got some money that you're owed at some later point in time or whatever, there's ways to get it. It's
optics. I'm not, like I said,
you're right. Totally.
I've hung out with Kareem. I love him.
Yeah, and
super nice to me. Like, but it's just like this one was just like a little weird. And DJ Cryptomatic brings up, the founder, tweeted it out, and I was just like, why did you have to bring more eyeballs on that one? Like, I don't know. It was just only in crypto, I guess. Just
well, I don't think RH tweeted like, hey, like send money. Did he? Wasn't it
he said Kareem needs help.
Yeah,
help. Yeah, help could be in a lot of things. It's like, maybe, a decent lawyer or something like that.
I was gonna say, I reached out to a friend down that way that in case he knew a lawyer. That's totally understand. That's reasonable help. Because it seemed like from what you said, Jesse's research, it seems like that's the most important thing is having proper counsel down there.
It used to be a lot harder, I guess, if that happened maybe 10 years ago or something like that, or however long ago.
Nor do any of us know the full extent of
correct. Yeah, correct. So
he's
going to be all right, though.
I think, yeah, and
I believe in you, Kareem.
That's right.
Yeah. We are. Yeah, it's not like he's shipping square groupers over here.
But I think Buck has touched on this as well. Like, if this community absolutely sucked, I don't think he'd be here, and I don't think a lot of us would be here. So we still have these discussions, which are intelligent. Buck does spaces, and a lot of other people do spaces. Some are better than others, but this community's been around for years. It's still alive. It's not as loud as it was just because of the situation, like I guess a little over a year and 2 days now, it kind of went silent to a great degree because of what happened with the SEC. And now we're just kind of in this like limbo situation. So I used to, do shows all the time. And it's just like, okay, well, there's not as much to talk about, not even close. So it's, I'm not just going to come on a show like once or twice a week and, bore everybody to tears. But we have stuck around. Like Big K and I've been here forever. I don't think we're going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that we can even talk like pontificate about the idea of helping someone that's been
there you go, exactly,
for this long is fun. It's pretty awesome. We are like a part of a crypto community that's been basically kicked around. We're down 99%. Like and yet we're still, and like, sure, right, people are right to be like, I ain't giving anybody any money for that, and that's fine. But like, it wouldn't even be an issue. I'm in a majillion other Telegram groups just for the shits of it, and like, and that most of the garbage that's out there, people are not have not built this kind of relationships, over the past 4 years. They just haven't, So, I mean, so you should all be pretty stoked on that. That's pretty neat. Whether or not it means you're gonna donate money or not or whatever is not the point. It's just like it's nice to even have a community to discuss these ideas with.
Yeah, we're definitely tight knit. I can say that. That's
Yeah, we're like that kind of hillbilly elegy family that's kind of interbred over the past 100 years, where everybody owes each other money. And then when someone gets arrested, we have to go bail them out. That's pretty much we're like an Appalachian dynasty.
Mountain's too big for us to get out of. Well, we're stuck here, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Let's move on to some more fun stuff and why the people are here. Let's talk some price. I guess we'll ease in and just talk, I guess, general crypto. So I guess in the green room we're kind of talking, some BTC. So right now we're like 62K, and I was saying, I guess in the green room, I don't think we were live yet. Is like you have two schools of thought here on this coming dip that I've seen, unless you just think it's like going back to like 11K in prayer or something ridiculous like that, or 30K or whatever, which I'm not buying into. But I think there's like one camp out there near term, say the next month or so, thinks like 60, 61, 62, that's our level, and then we hold there. And another one says like, we should probably go down to like 58, 57. And I really hope we don't have to go back and test, the Germans' lows when Moritz sold all of his Bitcoin. But where do you think we are? I guess I'll go to you, Buck, since we're talking price. Like, where's like, I hate asking price targets or stuff like that. But where would you feel like good about placing like a Bitcoin bid and be like, okay, if it gets here, like I just can't help but just like at least get a bid in? Like, is it like mid 50s? Like, where do you think we are in terms of like basing, I guess is the best way to say it?
Yeah, look, I bought Bitcoin last week much higher than it is today. So I did a Richard. Bought the top in the day.
Bought the top of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, so other things came in and kind of derailed that. I was basically trading the Trump speech because I thought there was a chance Trump could say something wacky, but it turned out it didn't really matter because other things got in the way of that, unrelated to Bitcoin. But that's a long-winded way of saying I think I'm pretty happy like holding here, until I see something that tells me, oh no, actually the whole thing's fucked and it's broken and it's going to fall apart now, right? Which I do not see. Yeah. Right. I'm a pretty happy buyer at these levels and any level. Like, because basically I just think the game is rigged, right? Rates are going to go down. Money's going to get debased. Lower interest rates means basically people have to take their money out of the bank and put it into investments. Number goes up, right? So it's the complete opposite of what we've been experiencing for the last 3 years. And so like I don't know, I feel pretty good about it. And then I also think that the AI story that we talked about is also going to be highly beneficial for markets as well, because it's going to increase productivity in ways that we probably can't even wrap our heads around. So like I'm pretty happy just being long, because if you think about it, the saying you say in the investment world is cash is trash. It generally is, right? You don't really want to be a big holder of cash most of the time, right? So, and like what you have to put your money somewhere, like, and 5% isn't that great, right? 2% is much worse, right? So if you get 2% on your term deposit, you're gonna have to put it somewhere else, and so is a whole bunch of other people. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy buying here. Doesn't mean we can't have things correct a whole lot more. That can definitely happen, and I'll be as greedy as possible if that does happen. But I'm long and loud.
And are you talking like not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, but are H tokens like getting greedy, or just Bitcoin and Ethereum when you're talking that way?
You want to talk about our H tokens?
All right, well, let's hold off, because I got another question for you. So maybe I'll ask that too soon.
I don't mind answering it.
Yeah.
I think our H tokens are on a lag. So that's my personal view. So they're gonna kind of bounce around, but just like we've seen in the past, we'll want to see Ethereum and all these other things start to go up before you'll start to see Hex and other stuff. Not just Hex, but alts in general, like across crypto. You'll want to see everything else start to go up a lot. So I think it's on a lag. What was your other question though?
Yeah, before we got into the RH and PH ecosystems, you had mentioned months ago, I guess, that you had put on some Solana as like an ETH hedge. Like, I guess the first question is, do you still have that hedge? Is that like a long-term hedge that you're just going to hold for a long time to see how Ethereum plays out? Like, what is your current thinking there?
Yeah, so I bought Solana for the first time after FTX, and as a trade, and that worked out pretty well, but wasn't necessarily a huge position for me. And but I think the only thing that really worries me is Ethereum gets MySpaced, and I can really only see two things that can potentially ever do it at the moment. One is Bitcoin. That seems unlikely, but it's possible, right? They have their L2 stuff and all those things, right? They have a bigger brand than Ethereum, but they're nowhere yet in terms of actually trying to, So I actually think of Ethereum and Bitcoin as pretty complementary usually, and then the other threat to Ethereum, I think, is Solana. So from my perspective, it's prudent for me to own a small exposure relative to my Ethereum exposure, which is big, just to offset it in case Solana really does just magically usurp Ethereum's mantle in smart contracts. I don't think that's likely, in the short term at least. Solana has a whole bunch of issues. It's still very new. I think it's still very centralized. It's heavily manipulated. It doesn't have futures, CME futures. It's got it's not going to have an ETF for a while. It's got, I think, a lot of baggage left over from the FTX debacle as well. So like as impressive as its returns have been, I don't necessarily think its functional place in crypto is necessarily going to overtake it. But yeah, I do have that position, and I will continue to have that position. I bought some Solana at much higher numbers last week, and I'm going to be buying some more the lower the number goes. Because
relevant in like 5-10 years from now, maybe 5 years, I guess is more fair.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I buy it almost hoping it performs poorly.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Because
you
it's
get
a
what I
hedge.
mean? Yeah, because it's a hedge. Yeah, it's not because I like it or anything like that. But it's also because I've been doing this long enough to know that you don't want to get married to really anything, and like I have a massive Ethereum position. It's the most important position to me.
Oh, so you control the SAC funds?
I'm not referring to any particular wallet. I mean, I'm talking personally, like my personal money. Mine is extremely weighted towards Ethereum. And that's just because I made a ton of money on it. Like I wasn't early enough to Bitcoin to get the absurd 100,000% type of returns, right? Whereas I was relatively earlier to Ethereum. So I care a lot about how Ethereum does. I'll put it to you that way. But that sometimes means you got to buy your enemy as a hedge. And that's what I've done. But yeah, so I'm pretty unimpressed with Solana, and I also want to say if things do go pear shaped, Solana is going to drop a lot, like way more than Ethereum, because it's very bubbly and full of a lot of hot air, and it's heavily manipulated. So, I'm buying it knowing all this. But I also think if things go the other way, it probably outperforms Ethereum and probably outperforms Bitcoin, etc.
Got it. Well explained. Thank you, sir. Any thoughts, Big K or Dylan, on, I guess we'll just, call them for the sake of this little chat, the three majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Do you just stay away from one or all of them? Do you what's your favorite, maybe for the next year or so? Like, any takes on that formula?
I like Ethereum for the reasons Buck mentioned. I do also have a little Solana, but just to fuck around with, I would barely a hedge, that's so like it's more. I'm heavily weighted Ethereum. I like Ethereum. I did yeah. I don't find that. Well, I have messed around with new Bitcoin stuff, ordinals, and whatever else. I don't find that anything there has impressed me enough to want to come play again anymore. So I still don't play there very much.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not super impressed with Solana, but apparently Fire Dancer is going to be a big deal. We'll see. But like I've used it. It feels better than Ethereum marginally, but like it's not so much better than an Ethereum L2 in terms of speed or cost or whatever that I really feel like it's necessary, and the applications aren't there for it either. So they have a lot of stuff they need to build still as well.
But what about my memes, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the wrong guy to talk to about meme coins. Oh, did you see this? BitBoy's been subpoenaed. Did you see this thing? Is that real?
I don't know. I just saw
the Hexicans are going to need to run a sacrifice to save BitBoy.
Wait, wasn't that the Ben token?
Yeah, that's what it says.
No, I think that the thing that he launched
Bro
on
was
Oh, that was
on
Bro. Yeah. Okay.
Bro.
Oh, you remember when we had our picks or whatever on that one stream?
Yes.
I think they all
October
went
is the
belly up.
date. We are all wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say cash.
I think my best pick so far has been PHLP.
Yeah, I did really well. Yeah.
I looked at that the other day. I was like, man, and we joked at the time. It was like you could very well win if everything else just
Yep,
sucks.
that's what I was going for. I was all $1, Bob.
Speaking of hedging, sir.
Well, and we have a V2 out now that has Solana as part of the basket. So there you go.
Excellent segue, Big K. So let's get into that. So you had some pretty, I guess, big news with Fame. I guess maybe I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe less than that. But because the protocol has been working great. I think for those who I know that use it or sacked for it or whatever, everybody's been happy with it. You can actually, everything's right there. You can, be part of the casino, whatnot. People are going to try to dump on everything, but they don't really know how economics work if you're hating on Fame, in my opinion. So, what changed? Like, take us through the changes, I guess, because I think we're having like V2. What could be in the future? I know you can't say everything because, forward-looking things that haven't happened yet, but tell us what you can tell us at least.
Yeah. So basically, we've learned a lot about Pulse Chain. We learned about the protocol. So we went to work immediately after we launched it, basically thinking about what we could do to improve it. So this has really been a culmination of work by the boys over the last kind of 9 months. And Pulse Chain has its limitations with liquidity and it's also has vulnerabilities to manipulation by large users. So what we've done is we've addressed all that and allowed ourselves to have a lot of flexibility with how we price the different tokens and their fees accordingly. So basically, we think we're going to be able to have a lot more trading volume because we can basically block out manipulators. We can give whales larger capacity to trade so long as they're honorable whales, and we can also make our rates competitive with GMX and other providers on tokens like ETH and BTC and Solana. So yeah, we're just slowly ramping that up, but everything's been working pretty well. We didn't come and try and overhype this or anything like that. In fact, we tried to do the opposite. But we've been slowly ramping this up just over the past couple of weeks to make sure everything's working well, and that's been the case. So we expect that this is going to allow a lot more trading. So now we need to get Dylan out and shake his ass and get more traders. Some of you guys may have had trouble putting on trades in the past because there wasn't enough. Everything was being fully utilized. I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue going forward prospectively because of this. So we still have V1, which you can use to trade, but we also have a V2 pool now. There's basically, I think, always going to be at least some capacity in there the way we set it up, so that anybody can come in and get a position on if they want. So yeah, we think that's pretty exciting, and we think we've solved a few problems that might have applications elsewhere, and I won't say more about what I mean by that, but yeah, we're thinking about all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good in terms of like we're happy to show that we're still working and doing interesting stuff. We're still churning out those fees every day. Even if the community is not super engaged at the moment, which I think is a fair way to put it. I still imagine a period where we will become super engaged again. I still think that's coming. And otherwise, it's all been a bit of a waste by Richard. But like I imagine there's going to be much better times ahead, and we're really building stuff for that period. And I don't think it takes too much. Like we need to as Kamala would say, let the passage of time get us through this election cycle to a less anti-crypto SEC regime, to a world where Richard Hart feels like he can come out of his man cave and start streaming again, and promoting the chain, and where community members can feel confident and get behind him once more. Like I think that stuff's all coming. And if it doesn't, then I'll be disappointed and angry.
We all wasted your time, but
yeah,
I think you just brought up a great point there that not a lot of people have brought up in the community, because everybody's like, oh, when SEC over, when Richard come back, but you brought up the concept, and I think it's spot on, of like a positive feedback loop, to where he comes back, you get more voices from the community come back because they feel supported from the founder. And I know, RH says, I don't work for you, blah, 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 but let's all be real. Him coming back and say he, does defeat the SEC would be, I think, quite the epic return. And that would fire up who knows how many people that are still here, and perhaps bring in a lot of new eyeballs. And just that groundswell of positivity could do pretty much amazing things for not only, maybe like Hex Price or something, but, the Pulse Chain community, because, that's all intertwined. So I think that's a really key point that not a lot of people are thinking about there.
Yeah. And I mean, I think from an investment standpoint, that's what you're always looking for, is something where people have basically thrown value away, right? They just, they got a company that's, does stuff, but nobody cares about it. And it's just sitting there, and people are just abandoning it. Right. And then you look for, some sort of impetus that's going to change that. Right. And, I think Pulse Chains, you could describe it like that pretty well right now. To quote Trump, Pulse Chain looks like a bag of crap at the moment. Right. It's what he called Biden. I think it's a pretty apt way to describe Pulse Chain currently, but like, it doesn't take too much to change that. Right. Like literally, we just need our founder to start going on stream again, and, start using his voice. We need kind of that positive feedback loop coming from Ethereum to come back as well. Right. So I do think these things are deterministic to a degree. We just have to wait for that moment to happen. Like if I'm Richard, I'm probably not going to get long and loud on stream until ETH prices are much higher and my legal issues are over. Right. That's just how I think about it. But that's an opportunity, right? Because you do the work now, and I put a tweet out on this the other day. You do the work now and just be ready for it in case it happens. It may never happen. I could be dead wrong about this too. But if it does, there's gonna be a pretty good opportunity. And this is one place where you can definitely, there's gonna be a lot of ways you can make money off of it if it does happen, right? Because I would imagine those Richard Hart coins go up quite a bit. But there's a whole lot of protocols, like the ones that I've made, that are worth a lot more money in a world where people look at Pulse Chain as a going concern, as opposed to something that's dying, right, or withering on the vine, right? So and it doesn't have to be my protocols. It could be Liquid Loans, or it could be Power City, or whatever, right? You can go figure out which ones are the cheapest. But I think that's all quite possible, and I think that's worth keeping in mind, while we're all waiting. And yeah, I think we will be waiting still quite a bit longer, but it is a big potential change that's coming, that I think will come. It's just a matter of when all those ducks getting all in a row.
Your take, Mr. K or Mr. Dillon, on the community positive feedback. Like, we talked about it, I guess, a couple weeks ago with Yash and Crypto Vince, just talking about, what could be the situation where RH comes back, or does he even come back? And I'm in the camp where if he doesn't come back, then, this is all over, light it on fire. But I do think he will eventually. But how would you like to see him, I guess, come back? Like, just stream immediately? Do you think he's going to lay low and like go Satoshi and just stay on X/Twitter? I guess I'll ask you that, Dylan, because Big K was here last time we talked about this a little bit. But what does Dylan's crystal ball say, or what would you want the crystal ball to say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that until we get the clarity of what's going on with the SEC, or there's some sort of like really bad situation that happens with price on chain, there's not really a reason for him to come back yet. I think also he'll probably wait, for ETH to do really well, maybe. And then that's just another card he has in his hat, right? Like, he can use it whenever he wants. And I'm sure he understands that it has some sort of weight and some sort of power. So, maybe he's still holding that card close to his chest. I hope that the clarity comes, sooner rather than later. But I mean, I'm ready to wait, I guess. And I'm really waiting to see what's going to happen with the general global markets, anyways. With now, unemployment's up a little bit more than expected. Rate cuts are, they're going to happen soon. And the market's kind of spooked at the moment. Just today, it was just all sorts of doom posting on Twitter today. So, I'm up in the air, right? So, and as far as coming together, a positive feedback loop, Pulse Bear is a fun place to hang out. Kind of a negative feedback loop going on there, but it's funny. It keeps people engaged, which is kind of the point. Keep you around. You want to check stuff. Like, you're not going anywhere, asshole. Join Pulse Bear and go shitpost, right?
Oh, there's a plethora of that now. It's a full-on bull market in that kind of posting, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So, bear euphoria. Exactly. So, I mean, we're all kind of just waiting. I'm sure that most of us have positions in this ecosystem already. And yeah, I mean, when the money starts flowing in and things get properly valued, the guys that stuck around this time, they'll probably do really well, right? I think all of us here will probably do very well when that time comes. And I think we're all ready for it, some more than others, right? But, Richard, he has his cards close to his chest. He's got his Joker play that he's able to use at any time. I think we're all speculating that hopefully he's not using it just because of the law. And, maybe he is. Maybe he's gotten the green light to speak. Maybe that's why he's still on Twitter. We don't know. But
I don't even think it's that. I just think it's not the right moment in general. It has nothing to do with him.
Imagine, you have the lineup of the SEC drops the case, or some sort of settlement happens, or something like this, and then he comes out streaming and then just balls to the wall.
You need Ethereum to be humming and alt season to be on first.
Exactly.
That which he has no control over.
Yeah.
Right. So like that would be the opportunity. Like, I think even with the SEC case.
So you'll think he'll come out even with the SEC case still pending and stuff like that if ETH is doing really well.
Yeah, precisely. I think that's really the ETH doing well in there to be like a proper alt season. I mean, just look around. Like nothing's really doing that much. Like, what's your XRP bag doing? How are your lumens doing? You know, how's your
I haven't
Cardano
heard that.
doing?
Lumens, bro. I haven't
Just
heard that.
stellar
Yeah.
lumens, bro.
What's your
Most-
Matic bag? What's
No,
your
most
Matic
other
bag
shit
doing?
is also not doing great. No,
No.
most other
Yeah.
shit is also wrecked.
So-
I mean,
so
we
what-
felt it the hardest, but
My chain link is wrecked, bro.
Why would you go fucking come out like beating your chest right now? You'll just get fucking shot. It's the wrong time.
Get shot.
Yeah, you're just gonna they'll be like, oh yeah,
Take a bullet for
Sell.
Hexaco.
yeah, no, it'd just be stupid. No, you don't. You want to wait until like there's a full on they blow the whistle and they say, all right, everybody over the top, right? And that happens when the liquidity comes back. When they drop interest rates a bunch, and they start handing out free money to people, that's when that happens. So you just got to wait for that.
That COVID money turned into a lot of money during crypto.
That COVID money got wasted on a lot of meme coins. That's right. So you got to wait for those sort of it'll be a little bit different each time, but like broadly speaking, that's when you got to wait for that, and it's not like there's not like a formula that like this happens every 4 years or something like that. That's bullshit. It happens when it happens. We don't know when it happens, but you just got to be patient for it. But one part of that step is getting interest rates down, right? Because that kind of crowds people out of the the banks and forces them to invest in stuff, and number goes up. So yeah, I think Richard won't be using his his big re-entrance until he's in that kind of environment. I don't think, because it would just be a waste otherwise, and he can only do that once.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to use your big your big scene, your big debut.
Yeah, you should be riding a bear in at at the top of a lion into an insane scene with at the top of the bull market, just killing it. That would be way better situation than like, hey guys, I'm back, still pending trial, still pending
Yeah, in my ETH position's down 30%.
Oh yeah.
No, it's just not the right time.
Yeah, I brought this up before. Ash kind of said it here. It's like, imagine being able to possibly brag about winning. That could be interesting. I 100%. I think that would be like the time, like Buck was saying, like that's not before, like Big K was saying.
I don't think it matters either way. Like, I don't think, honestly, I just like whether he wins or loses. Like, I mean, I think the pump might be bigger if he wins, obviously, but like, I just think the clarity either way, he's got to pay this and deal with this bullshit, or he doesn't have to do anything. Whatever the decision
Well, yeah,
is,
I mean, if it's
really
oversettled,
yeah, whatever it is going to be better than what we have now of just the fear of the unknown,
Yeah.
Because then you still have idiots like Moritz being like, he should go to jail forever, and you're just like, that's not a thing. That's not happening. You're an idiot. You're fucking
not
idiot.
how this works.
But because there's the fear of the unknown, people can yell all sorts of idiot shit and find a platform for it. So clarity would be great.
Word.
One more thing. I heard that Pulse Latina has been arrested, and she's in a women's prison.
Oh.
And she's going to be doing a sacrifice. So if we raise a few $1 million, we will get some of that Pulse Latina women's prison.
Doc, the fact that you fucking had me for a second there, I was like, what? Golly, that's great.
She needs your help, Hexicans.
That's the next move. You just gave someone an idea. I guess I had one more quick question / topic, but looks like our friend Crypto Class came in a little late, Buck. So in 30 seconds, could you answer her question? She woke up to a global crash. What's the narrative? What happened?
Yeah, hey Doc. Basically, it's gonna be all right. Just wait 6 months.
There you go.
Yeah.
U.S. jobs numbers were, bad, and we'll leave it there. Yes, let's raise funds fast, Abdul, to save Pulse Latina. So yeah, the virality is about to kick in. Thanks, Buck, for that. Appreciate it. Get to look forward to that on social media. No, just kidding. Yeah, just last note I had here. More of a fun question before we hop off. You could apply this to Bitcoin / Ethereum. So I guess BTC at, 53, but more so RH coins, Pulse Chain ecosystem is the bottom end. Did RH mark the bottom with that tweet of, oh, hey, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, coins are approaching the SEC low. Are we gonna revisit that? Do you think we'd go even lower, or we just grind around here forever until there's some sort of resolution?
Man, I don't know, bro. I bought 20% ago, dude. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun question. Like I said, nobody knows, but it's just like you're coming up on some interesting time period here, especially in, say, Hex. I think it's like the 5 years coming up like this fall. So then that would mean some of the very first 10-year stakers could EES if they have lettuce hands and get out. So that's a factor, but it's also timing of like if anything happens with the case or whatnot. So it's a open air question, but I was just curious on takes because we were kind of just grinding here. We'll get a tweet from Richard like we did. And this is like, hey, this is probably a pretty good level to notice and take note of. Not that anyone expected anything necessarily. LOL.
I mean, do you guys remember the green line?
Mm.
You guys remember the green line?
I remember the magic green line.
It
the
could
lower
always
left
go
to the
lower, I
upper right.
guess.
Yeah. And there was a particular wallet that sold right into that until it broke. So I haven't heard of that character in years now, but maybe he's in Saudi Arabia or something. Anyway.
It's about all penny is just a blip on the radar on the way to $100,
The amount of capital it would take to do that, unless I don't know. Let's get to like 5 cents, 10 cents first, everybody. Let's do that.
Yeah. I'd love to see
baby steps, very baby steps.
If this time next year we're at 3 to 5 cents, I'd be really.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be happy. So, like I said, baby steps. Question for Buck Rock, if you're still here, because I don't think we went too far into it. But could you explain, or Dylan, PHLP V2? Because there are, I guess, 2 reward coins now that show up for stakers.
Sure. Yeah. So PHLP V2 is a different pool. So it covers different risk. So effectively you're betting against different traders. It has a slightly different composition, but it should become the biggest pool over time as it ramps up. But yeah, it's got an identical composition to V1, except that it has Solana as well in it. and you're going to receive rewards for staking Fame now in both PHLP v1 and PHLP v2 going forward. Yeah, you basically get an extra reward token based on how whatever trading volume is occurring on either V1 or V2. And if we have a V3 in the future, we're not working on one currently, but if we have a V3 in the future, you'll have a V3 token someday. It's pretty likely at some point we'll do a V3, as long as Pulse Chain's still going. We'll always be looking at ways to refine it, but I think V2 is going to become the primary reward token going forward. But lots of people are still going to use V1, and that's totally fine. We're happy to support V1 as long as people are using it, and they are.
And I guess one more semi-related follow-up, not necessarily for Fame, but for Fiat. Fiat still lives on, PHIAT. It has not been neglected, abandoned. It works as designed. Anything else I'm missing there?
Yeah, we'll probably be adding some more currencies to that as well over time. It's really just a matter of using the void's bandwidth appropriately. Once again, I think that's a protocol that in a world where Pulse Chain is, humming, that protocol does quite well. Just because it's the kind of thing that needs to scale first. But once it does, and you're the primary place where that gets done, it's quite a lucrative business. You know what I mean? The problem is there's just not a lot of people borrowing and lending on Pulse Chain currently.
Yeah.
But actually, there's quite a bit of people borrowing and lending, and Fiat is completely full.
Yeah, yeah. We actually just need more stable coins and whatnot on Pulse Chain, right? I don't know how many stable coins we have on Pulse Chain. It's like tens of millions right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a lot. We want that number to be billions, right? So
billions and billions,
billions and billions. So yeah, we're building these things with the expectation that there will be better days ahead, and I know that doesn't look like that's the case right now. And you could definitely understand people, saying this thing's finished or whatever. But I note that the community's remarkably resilient. Like I'm amazed that people are still involved as much as they are. And obviously it's tough times for a lot of people. There's a lot of grifting that goes on because people get desperate as well. That is a symptom of things. But I'm heartened to see that people are still here. Like I still talk to almost exactly the same people that I spoke to 2 years ago during the bull market, right? Like there's very few people that have completely checked out. Especially out of the people that are building stuff.
Sorry, Richard.
Yeah, I don't talk to Richard as much as I used to. That's true. But and he is an important stakeholder, I would say. But I do suspect that you'd have to think he cares at least a little bit about giving this thing at least one good solid go, right? Like I think he owes that to us, and I think he knows that, and he hasn't done it yet, right? We owe it to him. We owe it to each other. Like we haven't really tried to give Pulse Chain a proper launch yet as a community. Is that fair to say? We haven't. We just haven't, right? We launched in a sort of pell-mell fashion because I think Richard knew the SEC thing was coming. I don't think he launched because it was finally ready and that was the day. Like I think based on the way that all happened, he was clearly in a hurry, and probably didn't do what he would like to do in terms of promotion or whatever, right? I believe he did no streams for Pulse Chain launch, correct?
He released a 5-second video.
Yeah, that was it.
Hostage video.
Yeah, so that's in my opinion deliberately unenthusiastic, right? So so I do believe that in his mind he knows he owes us, at some point to come and to do that properly, and we owe it to ourselves to do that properly. It just hasn't been the right time yet. I do think that's worth waiting for. And it could be that this thing just kind of withers in the vine as well. I mean, there's plenty of blockchains where that's happened, but I do think we actually have like a pretty strong community. I really do, and we have built a lot of stuff, and I've put a lot of time and energy into this, and so have the other teams. We want to see these things successful. So we're going to be here no matter what. And and as Cabana said, if he doesn't come back, you can probably light it all on fire. But I would mostly agree with you there. But if he does, we're going to be ready, and we're building solutions for that to that end. So hang in there. And look for the opportunity if and when it comes, because there'll be lots of ways to make money.
Yep. And I think like the time, like as you said, is to prepare now. I think you might have even tweeted something to that effect within the past week or so. Just now is the time to pack your bags in a sense. Get what you want, get satisfied with where you want to go in case the train leaves without warning. Those weren't your words, but I'm kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah, that's about right. And that's going on broadly right now. Like look at the whole market. Like you're getting Nvidia on a big discount. You're getting Google and Apple on a big discount from where it was a month ago. And look for opportunities. They're when things like this happen, like it's usually a gift. And I see what is pretty much a perfect setup for next year. So and we may get, I don't know how deep this dip is that we're experiencing here, but it's definitely one that I'm going to buy. I'm going to try to buy as best I can. Because I feel pretty good about where we're at, just heading into this. So look out for the opportunities wherever they are.
Yeah, and nothing goes up in a straight line. I mean, if it did, then everybody would be in on it. Everybody would be rich, and that's just not how the world works at all. Like there's patience attached to this. There's effort. Knowledge, what else? Stamina. Like it's not easy. If it were easy, everybody would do it. So there are dips in the game, but in bull markets, and the RH ecosystem has yet to really hit it this cycle, but a lot of other assets have already done it. You want to buy dips there, like Buck was saying, like with perhaps names like Nvidia's and whatnot. But protracted bear markets like the RH ecosystem, what if that becomes a bull in 6-12 months? Did you prepare appropriately? So good points all around. One last, I guess, loose end to tie up, Buck or Dylan, because is the fame claim phase in the final moments or final days? How much we got left? Sweet Aussie wants to know how much fame is still not claimed.
What is there, less than a month left, Buck?
I want to say we launched on September 15th or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but but yeah, I don't know the exact date. I'll find out. But yeah, it is about a month. You need to go claim. Go claim now.
Go claim.
Don't come to me and cry later.
I think most of it has been claimed.
Yeah, there's probably some stragglers somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe less than.
But yeah,
left.
Go. If you haven't claimed, go claim. Don't come crying to me afterwards. And
go into Fame Telegram, Dev, do something.
Yeah. Some type exclamation point mint.
So just a reminder: if you're not aware, if you do not claim, you don't get shit, right? So please.
I can't help you. There's nothing I can do.
It's like,
is there anything specific that happens to the coins that don't get claimed? Or are they just gone forever?
They're
go to the treasury.
They go to the treasury. They're stuck. They're just going to sit there.
Okay, so they're just stuck forever, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, claim or don't. Haha.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't claim, then that's probably going to make some other people pretty happy. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, SJ's asking what's the claim, but I think
if you sack for fame,
sack for fame, or if you maybe sack for other projects,
ones too, you might have gotten some
PH projects or no.
Yeah. Only
Fiat's over, man. You didn't claim Fiat.
Only Fiat and Fame. Yeah, Fiat's already done.
Fiat and Fame.
Done and dusted.
Yep.
So that's it. There's no magical claim for you poor plebs that want to get like something for free. That we don't do that.
And please be aware of scams, guys. We're not going to DM you and sound like African, Syrians. Like, we're not going to do that. So please,
someone's asking
in the chat, press mint.
Praise.
Don't talk to anybody else.
They are fucking scamming you.
And look out for the Pulse Latina sacrifice for freedom.
We're gonna fire it up. Yeah, there we go.
I think Maduro has arrested Pulse Latina unjustly.
But there's some Mexicans out there that think it's pretty just.
I noticed actually.
Wolf.
Anyway,
all right, gents.
Thank you so much. I was just gonna say thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate talking to you guys always.
No, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming aboard.
Yeah, and keep an eye out. We'll start doing some Twitter Spaces here, right, Buck?
Yeah, I mean, I've just had a kid, but Dylan, I know you have a lot of free time since you don't have a job or children or anything. So you're always free to organize things when you're not playing video games or I don't know how you spend the time, how you pass the time. I'm just a little bit busy. I know you're available
all day. Just fucking, just sobbing. Just
that's right.
Yeah. So expect to see from us.
We're gonna be out there. We're gonna be busy. Like I said, I think this is gonna be a really cool year. I mean, this last year has been amazing, also. But I think you're gonna have more amazingness. Not amazing for
amazing, dude.
You raised Dylan's eyebrows on that one.
So fucking amazing.
Well, this last year's been amazing for everything in the world except for Pulse Chain. But if you just bought like the index, you're pretty happy.
So amazing, yeah, it's just great. Yeah.
Which is why diversification is a good thing, guys, because sometimes you don't get it right. We're gonna be hard at work, and shout out to Fast Abdul. I think you're our marketing team, Fast Abdul. You're supposed to be marketing us, so get to work, buddy. We're gonna be quite busy getting the message out, and I think we're getting another listing coming as well. I had Coffee DMing me for money. So I think we're getting listed on something small that I haven't heard of, but nice. But it's something at least.
Was that the Bang Bang Dex?
No, it's something else. I won't say it just in case I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, like we're not giving up. I haven't given up. And yeah, free Kareem.
I guess we usually do
If
this.
Turks and Caicos doesn't free Kareem, we're going down there and we're legally overthrowing the government through democratic means and renaming it Hexaco.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey, I love Turks and Caicos, so I'm down.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, it's a great place. But yeah, they need to free Kareem. Cool.
All right. Well, we usually do the shill at the end, so I guess you guys technically shilled Buck and Dylan. What you needed to.
I'm done shilling.
There you go.
Shilling. Yeah, I've
All
done
right,
my
Big
shilling.
K, before we sign off, where can we find you, sir?
I mean, here, man. That's it. Twitter and Telegram at Big Kirkowski. I'm not doing any more conferences this year, so I don't know. Unless we organize a fun vacation thing or something cool, that's a party thing. I'll look. Other than that, that's in real life shit.
We could do a happy hour vacation sacrifice for the host.
Yeah, there we go. That seems like something that we should do. Give me
go.
some money to go throw some cool parties at least.
Yeah, we'll pick an
I feel
island.
like that's better than some of the other dumb shit we're talking about here. So
yeah, I'm gonna go on Twitter right now and ask for sack funds.
Anyways, no, that's it. I don't know. Out here talking about this shit and hanging out in y'all's spaces whenever you have shit. Whatever.
Outstanding. Well,
Decide to do this again.
Big K, as always, for co-hosting, and thanks again to Buck and Dylan. Always a great chat with you guys on such a wide variety of market topics all around. So always good to have you guys on. Greatly appreciated, and hope we can do it again soon. And everybody else out there, we will see you soon. I hate to leave at like the peak viewership, but that's what happens. It's just the time we get on the air on a Friday evening, but I thank you all for tuning in. Awesome stuff. Big K and I will see you, I don't know, just as always, stay tuned to the socials. We'll let you know when the next show is. And until then, cheers, everybody. Take care.
Adios.